The F1 season is back with a bang. The Melbourne Grand Prix, this might be a bit of an unpopular take, but it was fun. It was fun. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of flaws to these new regulations, and we can chat through those if we wish. But from a wheel-to-wheel racing perspective, that was the most fun I think we've had watching Formula One in quite some time. And again, it also comes down to the fact that these teams and these drivers are having to learn in real time, and that makes it fun from a viewing perspective. So I think first off, we need to get that off of our plate and say that regardless of your opinions, short-term and long-term around these regulations and the specs, the racing is fun and it's enjoyable. And that's what you want as a fan, right? Now, to the downside of that, the downside is Mercedes have fucking built a rocket ship and George Russell's going to cakewalk his way to a Formula One World Championship, and I'm not mentally ready for that right now. I still haven't come to terms with the Lando Norris title, and now I've got to deal with a George Russell title? This is just unbearable. Did you guys see his... Did you hear his radio after he won? Is there a more cringe driver on the grid ever in the history of Formula One?
Woo! Very nice, very nice. I like this car, I like this engine. Great job.
Like, oh my goodness, he's absolutely unbearable. And my concern is that because of the way the race played out, shout out to Ferrari again for somehow fumbling strategy on opening weekend. But because of how the race played out, Mercedes were able to hide the true pace of that car. And the gap is probably bigger, I think, than what people are willing to admit or recognize right now. And we'll get a clearer understanding, I think, in China this weekend, because it's a track where Lewis Hamilton in particular is very, very strong. The Ferrari has performed well there in the past. I think the way the Ferrari is set up, it is extremely good around corners. This could play to their advantage. However, if they aren't able to lay down a genuine challenge this weekend, then we can say that this season is a wrap and no one is catching Mercedes. Plain and simple. I have a lot of hope and blind optimism that we are finally going to see Lewis Hamilton on the podium for Ferrari this season. I think it starts this weekend in China. I don't know how they'll go in the sprint. I don't know how teams are going to react to the results of the sprint into the Sunday qualifying race session. How much change is going to be on the cards for those cards? How different are the sessions going to be? It's very fun. I think the unknown is very fun and we need to embrace it while we have it. And I'm very curious as well to see if the speculation around Mercedes potentially pushing rules past their fair points and boundaries eventually gets properly addressed by the FIA. Let's just say that much. That's definitely, I think, a storyline worth considering, especially if they do show themselves to be so far and away ahead of the rest of the field. That is always going to raise eyebrows, and that's always going to raise concerns and unfortunately turn heads at the FIA, which comes with the territory. So again, I'm excited for the current standpoint of Formula One. I'm excited for this weekend's racing. I have the optimism around Ferrari still being able to compete, but boy, oh boy, Mercedes are a whiles away. And it'll be interesting to see the bounce back from a lot of teams. We don't really know what Red Bull is yet. Isaac Hadjar had some terrible, terrible luck. I did feel for him drastically on the weekend in Melbourne. We don't know what the true capabilities are. We saw Verstappen absolutely lap the field basically all the way up to 6 from the back of the grid. I don't know how much that tells us though, because I still maintain those top 4 teams are so far away from the rest of the field. We're literally running 2 different races. So for him to have made up those places, not surprising. The fact that he couldn't then close Lando Norris in the closing stages with the fresher tyres, that's a little bit concerning for them. Because I think we know McLaren's a little bit off the pace as well. I don't know how much they're going to make up. What do we expect from Oscar Piastri in these circumstances? I'm more gutted now than ever that Piastri didn't win last year's world title, because I fear for him in the current setup of the car. I don't think this is the car that suits his driving style. I don't think that these regulations are going to allow him to basically show his best style of racing. And the fact that obviously McLaren are no longer top of the field. It's sport can be cruel like that, but it's a harsh reality. That missed window may have put him back 4 or 5 years before he's competing again. I hate to say it, but it's genuinely a possibility. We'll see this weekend exactly where the McLaren stand, but I don't think that they're in and amongst those top two, and I think it's definitely a case of Mercedes, Ferrari, gap, Red Bull, McLaren, big gap, rest of the field. But let's stay tuned. Like I said, it's exciting, and I think we embrace the excitement while it's here before it moves away entirely.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.